Hi everyone, welcome back to Story Time. Our first story today is called Millie Far from Shore. And this story takes place in a real place. It takes place on an island in Lake Superior. So you have Michigan here, it's all the way in this corner. It's called Isle Royal, and I'll show you what the island looks like. Here's the island, and there's a lake. It's the biggest lake on the island right here, called Sisquit Lake. There's an island called Ryan Island, and you'll hear those in the story. All right, let's get started. Melanie Moose had found a cool place to have a snack on a summer day. She was standing in her favorite spot in Sisquit Lake. There were plenty of water plants and no one else around. Well, that is until she heard some splashing behind her from the direction of the shore. "Melanie, oh Melanie, this looks like a great spot," Millie called as she loudly splashed her way forward. Melanie sighed. There went her peaceful and quiet snack. "Hi, Millie. School out early today?" "Yeah, and Mom told me to go find something to do, so I decided to find you because you're fun." Millie put her head in the water and pulled up some plants to eat. Okay. Here's what that might look like. "So you think your Aunt Melanie's fun?" Melanie asked. Millie nodded. "Well, I am going to challenge you to a race." "Ooh, what sort of race?" Millie bounced in the water, making ripples. "A swimming race to that large island over there, the one people call Ryan Island. Do you think you can do it?" Melanie asked, wondering if Millie would take the challenge. "Yes, I can do that. Let's go." Millie took off running, then swimming toward the island. Melanie decided to give Millie a head start, so she waited and munched a bit before starting herself. Melanie knows she's a fast swimmer and can go almost 6 miles an hour. She decided to start out slow, but was quickly catching up to Millie. Maybe her slow wasn't that slow. "I'm catching up to you, Millie," she called. Millie was getting tired, but tried to swim faster when she heard her aunt. "I'm going to win, you just wait and see." She pushed harder and the island was getting closer, but not fast enough for her tired body. Melanie came alongside Millie. "Are you getting tired? If you are, we can slow down and make it a swim just for fun," she offered. "No, I'm going to win." Millie pushed harder and pulled away a little bit from Melanie, but her body was slowing down and she was having a hard time keeping her head above water. She couldn't stop or she would sink. Then she felt pushed from behind. That push kept her moving toward shore until she could get her hooves on the lake bottom near the island. "You won," Melanie said. "Not really," Millie said in a sad voice. "Not without your help." "We all win when we help each other. Besides, your hooves touched the island first, push or not." Melanie sat next to Millie on the edge of the water. "Will you still help me when I'm older?" Millie asked. "As long as you will help me when I'm older." "Do we have a deal?" Melanie looked at Millie for an answer. Millie thought about that for a while. She saw how even though the moose here lived solitary lives or mostly on their own, they did help each other in their own ways. "Yes, we have a deal." "Will you accept help when you need it, even if you don't want it?" Melanie asked. This one was hard for Millie. She wanted to do things for herself, but there were still things she couldn't do on her own. But she needed help today to reach this island. "Yes, I will." After resting for a while, they started swimming back toward the mainland. Here's what that might have looked like. Once they got there, Millie went to find her mom as soon as possible and told her all about her adventure with Aunt Melanie. Our second story today is called Nellie and Orville Find a Way. Orville Ostrich was running fast across the sand. He started flapping his wings as hard as he could, but tripped and fell, putting his beak in the sand. "Oh, ow," he muttered, spitting out sand. He took a deep breath and let it out slowly. "Okay, I can do this. I'm going to do this. Here goes." Orville ran as fast as he could, flapping his wings. Here's what he might have looked like. He tried to hop, and each hop felt a little bit like flying. It was great. Then he heard something coming up alongside him. "What you doing, Orville?" Orville slowed down. There's no point trying again right now. "Nothing, Ollie, just running and flapping. You know you can run faster if you keep your wings in." Ollie says, "I know that, big brother. I was just trying something." Orville was upset that his brother had interrupted him. "You weren't trying to fly again, are you?" "Ha ha ha ha," he laughed. "You know that will never happen." Here's what his brother might have looked like when he was laughing at him, and here's how he felt. "You're a good runner. You could join my racing club." "I'm going to meet them right now." "You should come with me," Ollie urged. "No, thank you. I'm going to my friend Nellie's house. Maybe some other time." Orville turned to walk down another path. "Nellie Newt? What is she building now?" Ollie asked, shaking his head. "Stuff. Neat stuff." "Bye, Ollie." Ollie started running toward Nellie's. Nellie was behind her house digging through a pile of stuff. She looked up when Orville came near. Here's what she might have looked like. "Hi, Orville." We'll move things around. "Hi, Nellie. Do you..." He wasn't so sure. This is what he might have looked like. "Do I what?" She turned her head to the side and questioned. "Do you think we could build a way for me to fly? I've always wanted to fly. Do you think we could find a way?" Orville said fast and waited for her to laugh at him. Nellie looked thoughtful for a moment, then nodded. "Yes, I think if we work together, we could figure something out. Do you want to start right now?" Orville's beak dropped open. "Really?" "Sure." "Why? Did you think I was going to laugh at you like the others?" She seemed a little hurt. "Well, no, I guess. I don't know. But I would really like to try." "Okay, but you have to be willing to test out what we build." "Will you do that?" Nellie said, like she didn't think he would. Orville took that as a challenge. "Absolutely, it has to be better than me trying on my own." The two worked together, drawing designs in the sand with a stick. So let's move these over. Here's Nellie working with a stick. They started laying out things they would need and attaching them. The problem was power. The two friends couldn't figure out how to power their contraption. Nellie sat for a minute to think, but found the sun was baking the spot where she was. That gave her an idea. She quickly headed over to a shed at the edge of the yard and started digging through. Orville came over to help, but just as he reached the door, Nellie shouted, "Aha! I've got it!" She emerged from the shed with something Orville hadn't thought of, a solar panel. Perfect! They found a small battery to go with it and put it on their contraption. It was ready. Orville put it on by fastening the straps around his middle. Nellie handed him some goggles and a hat. He put those on too. Now he was ready. Here's what he might look like. Okay. Orville took off running down the road as fast as his legs could carry him. He felt his feet leave the ground for just a few times, a second or two. Then for a bit longer, he was getting tired, so he gave it one last push and hopped. Orville was off the ground, only a few inches, but he was off the ground. Then he heard the motor slowing down. He turned around and tried to make it back to Nellie's, but the motor stopped just short. That was awesome. The two friends made adjustments, added more batteries, and tuned the motor. His next try was even better. And by the end of the day, Orville was mostly flying down the road. He only had to put his feet down once in a while. Nellie even rode in a pouch around his neck for a few tries. Here's what that might have looked like. Our last story today is called Percy and His Penny Pal. Percy Polar Bear started walking home from the post office. Nothing. Again. He had signed up for a pen pal, but no one had sent a letter yet. His friend Paul has a pen pal and gets letters all the time. Percy huffed and grumbled as he walked. He tried again the next day at the post office. Anything for me? Percy asked, trying not to be too hopeful. He was rewarded with a white envelope that had his name and address on it. It might have looked something like this. Percy couldn't be happier. He walked to a nearby park and looked at the envelope carefully. It had strange stamps on it. And it was from someone named Penny Adelie Penguin. It was from Antarctica. No wonder it took so long to get there. Percy opened the envelope and something dropped out. A picture. Her home looked like his. It was white and snowy and had lots of water. He read the letter. Hi, Percy Polar Bear. My name is Penny Adelie Penguin, and I live in Antarctica. My family and I move around the continent to find our favorite food, krill. However, we spend a lot of time in Terra Delhi, or Adeliland, so the address below is the best place to write. I love to swim and dive. I am so happy to have a pen pal from a place so far away. Please tell me about where you live and what you like to do. Signed, Penny. Percy was over the moon excited. He went home right away to write Penny. He wondered if he would ever get the chance to visit Penny sometime. First thing the next morning, Percy was there when the post office opened to mail his letter. Good thing, too. The mailboat was leaving that morning, and it wouldn't be in for a few days. Penny saw the supply plane land and waddled over to it in her penguin way as fast as she could. Hoping the mail pouches had something for her, she went to the place to pick up mail. Patiently, she waited. Then, an envelope from Alaska was held up, and they called her name. She couldn't believe it. She finally got a letter from her pen pal. What would it have in there? She studied the envelope. Then, she went and found a comfortable clump of snow to sit in and read her letter from Percy. Opening the envelope, she saw a picture and a letter. Here's the picture. Hi, Penny Adelie Penguin. It is nice to meet you. Like you, I live in a place that is snowy and cold most of the time. We have lots of water in the nearby Arctic Ocean. I also love to swim. I hunt for my food out on the ice, and I like to eat many things, but seal is my favorite. I took this selfie. I'm sorry it's a little blurry. I will try and send you a better picture later. Maybe I'll ask my friend Paul. He's a good photographer. You asked what I like to do. I enjoy making castles out of snow. I find a good place and start digging with my paws. Sometimes I make them big enough to take a nap inside. It looks like you are a bird. Do you fly or travel anywhere? I mainly travel for food. It sounds like you travel for food too. Signed, Percy. Letters went back and forth between the two for a while. Here's what another one might have looked like. Percy found out that Penny was a bird that didn't have the ability to fly. He thought about visiting, but it would take a long time to get there on a boat, and not many boat captains want a 300-pound polar bear on board. In one letter, Penny shared that a scientist at the research station offered to let her use a cell phone if he wanted to do a video call. Percy went to his friend Paul, and they called the number Penny gave him. Sure enough, a scientific-looking person answered, but took the phone out to Penny. Penny was standing nearby with her family, hoping Percy would call. The two had a great time chatting. So here's what their call might have looked like. They made plans to do it again. The scientist shook her head and muttered, "Who knew a polar bear and penguin from different poles could be friends?"